What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. The 2023 college football season is over, and it's time to look ahead to 2024. A lot of changes coming in 2024. We're going to give you a way too early top 25 here, and it is called way too early for a reason. This is not going to be a very accurate top 25, and there are no accurate top 25s out there because we don't even know what the rosters are going to look like. We still don't know about some of the NFL decisions. We don't know about the transfer portal, which will open up again, and you'll have more transfers after the spring. So it's a long off season, and there'll be a lot of changes from now until the start of the season. But these are my early rankings here, and just kind of basing it off of how the teams ended last year, what I know about who's coming back and what's happened in the transfer portal. Again, I dig into this a lot deeper. We'll go through the entire offseason breaking down these teams, of course. And even after National Signing Day, once the transfer portal, this first wave is over and we see all the NFL decisions and all that, I think we'll have pretty good rankings by then. I'll do those, again, probably right after National Signing Day. I'll also have time to really evaluate these teams and go through the rosters and all that. But right now, it's really about how the teams ended last year, what we do know, and really putting a lot of emphasis on the quarterback position because, again, that is the most important place on the field, obviously. So let's get into it here. I'm sure you're going to have plenty of arguments, and that's fine. You may be right. I may be wrong here. I mean, it's too early to do this. Why do we do this? Well, it's fun, even though it's way too early. But we're going to actually start at the top here. So I'm going to go 1 through 5. I've got Georgia at number 1. I think that's a pretty clear choice. With Carson Beck coming back at quarterback, the talent they have on their roster, I think this is a team that if they had gotten in the 14 playoff last year, really good chance they would have won the national championship. But Georgia right there at 1, Alabama behind them at 2. They had a really good recruiting class in 2023, and so you're going to have, that was an elite class. You're going to have a lot of these young guys starting to have bigger roles. They have some key players coming back, including, of course, Jalen Milroe at quarterback. So Alabama at 2, Texas at 3. Quinn Ewers will be back for them, and this is also a team that's really recruited well. They've got a very talented roster overall. I get it if you want to put Texas ahead of Alabama just because they beat them last year, but I'm going with the Crimson Tide. I think they should be at 2, Texas at 3. Alabama, the more consistent program. Oregon at number 4, another team that's really been loading up with talent. You add Dylan Gabriel out of the transfer portal, also Dante Moore. So you've got options there at quarterback. This is going to be a really, really good team. And I think right now I'd probably say Oregon is the front runner in the Big Ten. Michigan at number 5 really just depends on what comes back. This is a team that could potentially be a preseason number 1 if all these players come back that have a chance to come back. Or they could be outside of the top 10 if a lot of guys go to the NFL. So that's just something we'll have to wait and see here over the next few days. But I'm just putting them at 5. I think that's a pretty fair spot for them at this point. All right, number 6 is Ohio State. Buckeyes because of that defense. And you bring in Will Howard, which is an interesting fit for them. I don't think it's a guy that's going to go out and win a Heisman Trophy, but it's a veteran quarterback, a solid quarterback, a player that is definitely an upgrade. And they've got plenty of talent around him. I know they lost some key players, had some guys in the transfer portal, but the defense is finally good at Ohio State again. We saw that last year. I expect it to be the same thing next year, and with some upgrades on offense, potentially, although you're going to lose some players as well, like Marvin Harrison. So it's hard to say what Ohio State's going to be at this point. Again, it's too early to be doing this, but we're doing it anyways. Number 7 is Ole Miss. Judkins leaving drops them from potentially being a top 5 team. I think if he had not entered the transfer portal, I probably would have had Ole Miss in the top 5. But still, a lot of talent coming back. This is going to be a really good team, and they've done a really good job in the transfer portal. Missouri at number 8. Maybe that's a little high. We'll see what they have coming back. Again, I haven't totally evaluated these rosters just yet, but they finished last year really strong, returned their starting quarterback, so they should be pretty good and potentially a top 10 team again. Penn State at number 9. Drew Aller, we'll see if he can take that next step forward. They're going to have a couple of really good running backs obviously coming back, a defense that we know will be good. What will the offense look like? Now, this is still going to be a good team, I think, in Penn State. Another top 10 type season for them, potentially. And then number 10 is Notre Dame. The Riley Leonard transfer at quarterback, very interesting. Marcus Freeman building this program. And and this will be his third year. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. This is going to be his third year, and so we'll see if it pays off, everything they've been building there at Notre Dame. I think they have a chance to be pretty good. I don't know if they're a national championship caliber team, but I do think they're a playoff caliber team there at Notre Dame. Number 11 is Florida State, kind of like Michigan. Just have to kind of wait and see what comes back for them, or what they do in the transfer portal. They're going to lose a ton of talent, a ton of production. DJ Uiagalelei comes in at quarterback. That'll be an interesting fit there. So we'll see what Florida State's roster looks like. Washington at number 12. Kind of the same story. What will their roster look like? Will they use the transfer portal? They're going to lose some really good receivers. Michael Penix obviously gone. But I respect this program a lot. Great coach, and I don't think they're going to drop off much. Arizona, number 13, and as crazy as this sounds, Arizona, probably the front runner in the Big 12. The Big 12 is going to be really interesting. The Big 12 might be the funnest conference moving forward. You know, you've got Arizona, you've got Kansas and Kansas State, Oklahoma State. You've got Utah coming in with Arizona as well. You got Colorado with Deion Sanders. I mean, it's going to be a really interesting conference, but we could wind up having two former Pac-12 teams in the Big 12 championship game. I could see that happening. Arizona and maybe Utah. Who knows? Maybe Colorado surprises and they get in that spot. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But the reason why I say it's going to be maybe the most fun conference is because you don't have any real powerhouses anymore. Texas is gone. Oklahoma's gone. And so you're going to see, I think, a lot of teams kind of up and down in this conference, where we get new teams in the Big 12 championship game a lot of times. And so I think you're going to see a lot of movement. Again, teams going up and down. So I think it's going to be a really fun conference to watch year in and year out. But anyways, LSU number 14. We'll see what they have at the end of the day. How do they use the transfer portal? They lost, of course, Jaden Daniels and some really good receivers. So it's going to be interesting. Can they get the defense figured out? Of course, new defensive coordinator. That'll be an interesting thing to watch there. Oklahoma number 15. Jackson Arnold, kind of inconsistent from what I've seen. If he can live up to the potential, Oklahoma could be a top 10 team this year. But right now, I've got him number 15. Let's go to 16 through 20. Tennessee at number 16. I think this team has a lot of potential. It's a team that I think I might wind up putting in the top 10 when this thing's all said and done, when we get to the preseason. But again, it's early. Got to evaluate more. Oklahoma State, Alan Bowman coming back for his 7th season. Good news for them. They should be good again. Clemson at number 18. Year 2 under Garrett Riley. Do they take a big jump offensively? If they do, this team's still pretty talented, and they could have a chance to win the ACC this season. Utah number 19. Cam Rising coming back from that injury. We know this is going to be a good team. They always are. How good can they be? We'll have to wait and see about them as well. Kansas State at number 20. The quarterback position, probably the biggest question mark for them. And you will see what do they go to the transfer portal? Will they use one of these young guys? That'll be interesting to watch for the Wildcats. 21 through 25, Louisville number 21. They've got several options at quarterback. We'll see who wins the job there. Wisconsin at number 22, Tyler Van Dyke steps in. We'll see if he can go back to kind of his old days when he was really good at Miami. I do think Luke Fickell is building a really good program there at Wisconsin. Didn't beat LSU, but you saw the fight in this team, and a lot of backups in there that played really hard. NC State number 23. Interesting with Grayson McCall at quarterback. We'll see what they look like. Kansas brings back Jalen Daniels. Can he stay healthy? And then West Virginia. This is a team that finished the year really strong. Surprised a lot of people this past season. And I was looking for that team to put in number 25 spot. I'm going with West Virginia. So I'm going with the Mountaineers there at 25. And again, a lot of questions, a lot of research has to be done before I feel good about a top 25. But this is just a very early stab at it. My way too early top 25 for 2024. Give me your rankings and your thoughts on mine down in the comments below.